For decades, the promise of nuclear power has flickered between hope and fear. On one hand, it's a nearly limitless source of clean energy, capable of powering entire continents without a single puff of carbon dioxide. On the other, nuclear power has a dark side: meltdowns, radioactive waste, and the shadowy connection to nuclear weapons. For all its potential, the world has never fully embraced nuclear energy as the ultimate solution to its energy needs. But what if there was a safer, cleaner, and less dangerous way to harness nuclear power? What if an alternative fuel source could sidestep many of the risks associated with uranium-based reactors? Enter thorium, a silvery, unassuming element tucked away in the periodic table. It's abundant, efficient, and, according to many experts, could revolutionize the nuclear energy industry. Is thorium the key to unlocking a cleaner, safer future, or is it just another overhyped dream? Thorium's appeal lies in its remarkable properties, especially when compared to uranium, the current star of the nuclear world. For one, thorium is far more abundant. While uranium reserves are limited, there are an estimated 6.2 million metric tons of thorium hidden in the Earth's crust, 3 times more than uranium. And unlike uranium, thorium doesn't require the complex and costly enrichment process to make it usable in a reactor. In its natural state, thorium is ready to be transformed into fuel. Safety is another major selling point. Traditional uranium reactors come with the constant risk of catastrophic meltdowns, as witnessed in Chernobyl, Fukushima, and 3 Mile Island. Thorium reactors, however, operate differently. They're designed to shut down automatically if something goes wrong, making disasters almost impossible. In addition, thorium-based reactors produce significantly less radioactive waste, and the waste they do produce is far less dangerous. While uranium waste can remain hazardous for tens of thousands of years, thorium waste becomes relatively safe in just a few hundred years. And then there's the elephant in the room: nuclear weapons. One of the major criticisms of uranium-based reactors is their byproducts, specifically plutonium, a key ingredient in nuclear bombs. Thorium reactors, on the other hand, produce much smaller amounts of plutonium, and the uranium-233 they generate is unsuitable for making efficient weapons. This makes thorium an attractive option for countries looking to adopt nuclear energy without contributing to global proliferation risks. If thorium sounds like a miracle fuel, you might be wondering, why isn't the world already running on thorium reactors? The answer lies in history, politics, and economics. Back in the 1950s and 60s, during the early days of nuclear research, thorium reactors were indeed considered a promising alternative to uranium. In the United States, scientists at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee built a prototype thorium reactor known as the molten salt reactor experiment. It ran successfully for over 13,000 hours, proving that thorium could generate energy on a large scale. However, the world was in the midst of the Cold War, and uranium had a distinct advantage. It produced plutonium, which could be used to make nuclear bombs. For governments racing to build their arsenals, this made uranium reactors far more attractive. Thorium, with its inability to feed the weapons industry, was quietly sidelined. The Oak Ridge experiment was eventually shut down in 1969, and thorium research fell by the wayside. Fast forward to today, and thorium is making a comeback. With the world desperate for clean, reliable energy sources to combat climate change, the advantages of thorium are harder to ignore. Countries like India and China, which face growing energy demands and limited uranium supplies, have led the charge in thorium research. India, home to some of the world's largest thorium reserves, has spent decades working on thorium reactor technology. Its prototype fast breeder reactor, designed to use thorium as part of its fuel cycle, is set to begin operations soon. Meanwhile, China is building its own experimental thorium reactors in the Gobi Desert, with plans to bring them online by 2025. Both nations see thorium not just as a solution to their energy needs, but as a way to reduce their dependence on foreign uranium supplies. Even in the West, interest in thorium is growing. Denmark's Copenhagen Atomics has developed a small, modular thorium reactor that can be transported in a shipping container, making it a versatile option for remote locations. In the United States, Congress has debated funding thorium research, though progress has been slow. Across the globe, the race to perfect thorium technology is heating up. Thorium might sound like the perfect solution, a safer, cleaner, and more abundant alternative to uranium. But as with any emerging technology, it comes with its own set of challenges. While nations like India and China sprint ahead to harness its potential, skeptics warn that thorium's promise may be harder to deliver than it seems. So, What's holding thorium back, and can it truly live up to its revolutionary reputation? To understand thorium's potential, it's important to grasp how it works. Unlike uranium, thorium isn't directly fissile, meaning it can't sustain a nuclear chain reaction on its own. Instead, it's a fertile material. When bombarded with neutrons, thorium-232 absorbs them and transforms into uranium-233, which is fissile. This uranium-233 then powers the nuclear reaction. Thorium reactors often use molten salt as both a fuel carrier and a coolant. The thorium is dissolved in the salt, which allows it to flow through the reactor's core. This design has several safety benefits. For example, if the reactor overheats, a safety plug at the bottom of the system melts, allowing the molten salt to drain into a storage tank where the reaction stops. This passive safety design makes catastrophic meltdowns nearly impossible. In theory, thorium reactors also produce more fuel than they consume. The uranium-233 they generate can be used to power the reactor, creating a self-sustaining cycle. This feature, combined with thorium's abundance and lower waste output, makes it an enticing prospect for the energy-hungry world. If thorium reactors are so promising, why aren't they everywhere? The answer lies in a combination of technical hurdles, high costs, and political inertia. First, there's the issue of technology readiness. While the science behind thorium reactors is well understood, the technology to make them commercially viable is still in its infancy. Most thorium reactor designs are prototypes, and building full-scale systems requires enormous investment in research, infrastructure, and engineering expertise. Another obstacle is cost. Extracting thorium from ore is relatively easy, but converting it into reactor-ready fuel is more expensive than uranium. Additionally, the specialized materials and designs needed for molten salt reactors add to the price tag. While these costs may decrease as the technology matures, they remain a significant barrier to widespread adoption. Thorium reactors also produce a byproduct, uranium-232, a highly radioactive isotope that emits dangerous gamma rays. While uranium-232 isn't suitable for weapons, it complicates the handling and processing of thorium fuel, requiring advanced shielding and safety measures. Finally, there's the issue of political will. Uranium reactors have been the standard for decades, and much of the world's nuclear infrastructure is built around them. Transitioning to thorium would require not just new reactors, but also a complete overhaul of regulatory frameworks, fuel supply chains, and international agreements. Thorium is often described as a bridge technology, a stepping stone between today's uranium-based nuclear power and the nuclear fusion technologies of tomorrow. Fusion, the process that powers the sun, promises virtually limitless energy with no radioactive waste. But commercial fusion reactors are still decades away, leaving a critical gap for thorium to fill. Thorium reactors, with their higher efficiency and lower waste output, could serve as a cleaner and more sustainable option during this transitional period. They could also help reduce global reliance on fossil fuels, cutting carbon emissions at a time when the planet urgently needs climate solutions. The road to thorium-powered energy won't be easy. The technology needs time to mature, and governments must commit to the long-term investments required to make it viable. But the potential rewards, a safer, cleaner, and more sustainable energy future, are hard to ignore. Will thorium revolutionize nuclear power, or will it remain a promising idea stuck in the shadows of history? The answer depends on whether nations are willing to take the leap, overcome the challenges, and turn this silvery element into a powerhouse of clean energy. Thorium represents a future worth fighting for. It's not a miracle cure or a magic bullet, but it's a step in the right direction, a way to power the world without destroying it. What do you think? Is thorium the solution we've been waiting for, or just another nuclear dream? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about the technologies shaping our future.